everyone, and welcome to She. Today on the show, I have some amazing guests and some good stuff to talk about. And you know, it's stuff that I could easily just call life-changing. You know how you sit down, you're like, how do you put together your CV? What is LinkedIn about? You know, what is this whole thing they call personal branding? And you're like, I want to stand out. I want people to know what I've been doing. Well, I did my homework. I brought in amazing guests. They have done all those things and done them so well. They are award-winning, can you imagine? And they're here on this show to tell us all about it. So, you know, get your notebook, you know, just write down all these things. Call all your friends, just make sure they're tuned in here to learn as we go through this show. So allow me to present to you two amazing ladies. I'll allow you to introduce yourself in whatever form or shape. Tell us what you do in whatever form or shape. So maybe start with you, Topi, and then we come to you, Stella.
Hi, listeners. I'm Topista Muga. I am a woman in tech. The last 18 years in different technology companies. I decided to start my own company, which is called Prosper Mentor. It deals with connecting mentees to mentors so that they can be able to ask any questions. And one of them, as Faith has mentioned, is CV writing. The other one is personal branding. And the other one is executive presence. How do you show up? So that's all about me. I'm a mother of one. I turned 40 last year. Yay. I usually call it halftime, so I'm on my halftime right now. Wow. Moving from success to significance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I need to have a different show where we talk about this halftime and success to significance. We'll most definitely look for you for that, but thank you for that introduction. Stella?
Oh, yeah. My name is Stella Chelangat Mutai. I'm married. Yes, I'm still young. I'm 29 years, a geospatial analyst with the UN. I've worked
Wait, just stop there. Geospatial what? You might need to explain to us what that is.
Oh, yes, I will. I deal a lot with mapping, early warning, climate change, everything inclusive of that. I've worked with global companies, and I do a lot of women mentorship across African women in geospatial and geospatial council across the world. Yeah, wow. And I'm grateful to be here to talk about my experience and what I've learned from these amazing women. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. And I know you guys didn't talk about your awards, but we'll talk about them at the end. But maybe let me start with you, Stella. You talked about geospatial, and you know, so that people can understand before we move on, because maybe guys are freezing, they're going like, geospatial what? Just tell us, you know, like what made you get into that field? Did you know about it? You know, were you made to get into it, or did you just walk into campus and close your eyes and, you know, oh, geospatial, that's what I'm going to do? How did you get into this space, and, you know, what has it meant for you?
Oh, that's really nice. I entered into this space by the influence of my dad. He's a lecturer in Egerton in geography, but then it was a starting sphere, so I had a lot of fears of whether I'll get a job. There was no mentorship that was there before. I did it in the Kimathi. That was my bachelor's. Then immediately when I finished, looking for a job was a big hassle for 1 year. Then thankfully got up and away, and I got a scholarship to the Netherlands, and that's how I did my master's. And I'd say that's where I got the grip of what geospatial is, what it is in the global space, who does it, and why it's very applicable, and especially now it's more even important in various forms. Yeah. It's really a lot on mapping in a simple way, mapping technology, to see how you put coding and maps together and see how they correlate. In actual sense, we all use geospatial every day. Google Maps is a simple form of geospatial.
Oh, is it?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
And in an advanced manner now, it's used a lot in physical planning, urban planning, food security planning in every sector of our country. Yeah.
Wow. Do you know anybody else in Kenya who's done what you've done?
Yes, a lot of people now. Now, currently, there are a lot of young people that are doing it. And if it's not a main course, they're doing it as sub-units. There are various organizations. There's even a Department of Land Surveying in government now that's currently doing it. So it's something that's really coming big, and in the next 5 years, I think it will be one of the most important courses for many young people. Yeah.
And you know, I like what you're sharing, because you know, this is also the season when, you know, a lot of these students have finished fourth form and things like that. Yes. And maybe you haven't made it to the normal things, you know, to study law, to study medicine or business school. You know, it just shows hope, you know, that even though you haven't made it to do all these things, or you didn't make it to University of Nairobi, you know, or just the normal universities, that you could actually go to a normal university, get to do what could sound like a random course, and it takes you places, to Netherlands, and now you're working still out of the country, right?
Yes, yes.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And Topi, just take us through your journey. I can only imagine being this young woman in the tech space. What did that look like for you, and how did you manage to stand out? Because you're a young woman, you're in a space with so many men. Are there secrets to standing out, getting your brand out there, even before you jumped into entrepreneurship?
Very good question.
Yeah.
For me, actually, when I started IT, it was by accident.
Oh.
Soon after high school, many of us were going different places. We had applied to campus different courses. I had applied for information science at Moy University, but then soon after campus, during our time, there was a long wait period before you start, more than a year.
Yeah.
So I joined Strathmore, and at that time they were offering IMIS, which is the diploma in IT. So I joined as while waiting to go to campus, let me take this course.
Wow. Did your parents push you to do it, or did you just decide for yourself?
I just decided.
Oh,
there was a lot of school, there was a lot of either someone goes to do accounting or you do IT. And I was like, accounting is not for me, let me do the IT one. So I went into Strathmore, I did IT. But while there, I started talking to the dean. I'm like, I want to get some work experience as I study.
Wow.
So I started as a lunchtime lab assistant because I was studying Microsoft Outlook, Word, Excel. So lunchtime, when people are, the main lab assistant has gone for lunch, I will step in and help students who are coming to use the computers. Wow. So that's how I started developing the IT experience. And little by little, Barclays came to the university. And because I'd already talked to the dean that I'm interested in getting some work experience, he put forward my name.
Oh, wow.
And the next thing, I was interviewed. And I got a job at at 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then moved into Barclays, switched to evening classes, and the rest was history.
Oh,
so for me, one of those things that I learned at that stage, to stand out, talk to people. Yeah. Just voice out what you're looking at. Look at what is available, talk to them, and you never know when the opportunity will strike.
I like that. And it's so true, because so many times we have potential, we have good resumes, but if you're not putting it out there, then people don't know, right? People won't know that you're good at this or the other, and especially in the global space. And I want us to talk about that, because it's one thing that maybe in Kenya people know you've done this or the other, but there's the LinkedIn platform. What has done that for you? How did you get these jobs? Was it through LinkedIn? Especially because you haven't worked in this country. And what has LinkedIn done for both of you, so to speak, just in terms of getting you out there?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, what really helped, all my jobs I got through LinkedIn.
Oh.
And one of the things that has really, really helped me is connect with people who do relevant things that you do. So for example, 80 or 95% of the people I follow on LinkedIn are heads of units of geospatial technology, meaning these are people that I can consider to go through when I'm looking for a job, looking for mentorship, and there are people who have networks within them. Secondly, I'd say is know what you're looking for in a job, because a lot of times many young people just apply for jobs for the sake of wanting a job, but not many people look at what solution are you offering. Is your skill necessary for that place you're offering into? Then when you're pitching yourself in LinkedIn, I find that's how people lose jobs a lot, is because when you start your statement to a recruiter who has posted a job, you state by I need a job instead of these are my skills and I feel they can be necessary, applicable to this particular job. And that really has helped me a lot. And sometimes it makes, even when I don't get selected for that role, the recruiter comes back and tells me, I've kept your CV for further. Exactly. So that would really, really help. And then also another thing is understanding where you want to be in the next 5 years, because a lot of times I look at my skill set and I realize these phenomenal people I follow in geospatial in LinkedIn globally have this kind and this kind of skill. Because I realize a lot of people who do tech stuff have less managerial things, but if you're going to look for global space, you have to have a balance of both. So I go back and realize this is what they have done, this is what I don't have. Like now I'm currently doing project management, because I realize everyone who I really admire and I want to go into that space has done project management, irrespective of how tech tech has looked into them or engineering has looked into them, is finding that balance between it. And then lastly is communicate, share the post about the things you really want. For example, I like climate change, I like early warning, I like how geospatial is used during response. So look for people who post or write articles about them, read about them, summarize and post them on LinkedIn. With time, I realized people view a lot of what you say and actually reach out, and that's how you build the network.
Oh, fantastic. And I like the things you're saying because it's simple things. It's things that I can, after this show, can sit down with my LinkedIn and just put together my profile and tomorrow start sharing what's of interest to me. Like you've rightly said, I can figure out, oh, I need to follow Topi, or I need to follow Stella, or whoever else is relevant for my role, and then now start just building my network, you know. So then they know there's a faith somewhere in Kenya, you know, and things like that. And I like that. How has it been for you, and how have you used LinkedIn as well, or any other platform really, if you've used any other, to just build your brand and create that sort of standing out notion for you as Topi?
I'll take a couple of steps back, and I will be called to events to speak, and I'll be like, I'm not ready, but let me give it a shot, you know, prepare, go and talk about it. So I'd build some experience in a specific area. I normally call it gravitas, you know, having depth in a specific area. She's just talked about the skills. So how do you develop the depth in a specific area so that you are known for that? You need to be known for something, And then once you've developed that expertise and depth in a specific area, maybe it's a 2-year experience, you keep building on it because things change, so that over time, 10 years down the line, you have proper depth. Like if someone asks you a question left, right, and center, you'll be able to respond to it. So that experience, then going to conferences and speaking, and then I got my first award in 2015. And that award came as a surprise because I didn't expect it, you know. It was a women event and we're talking about women in tech. And then I had been nominated. I had no idea I'd been nominated. At the end of the event, I was awarded. Now, after being awarded, I went back to the office. And the next thing, our director of communications was like, you know what, we're going to put this in the paper.
Fantastic.
So that became one of the first ways to start really showcasing who Topi is and what does she know, what does she do. Because this article covered, or she's handling mobile money, she has won this award. So later I realized, you know what, the content, the place I went to, the nomination, all these were now coming together. And after that, I got a number of interviews and newspaper articles. So later, further down the line, I reached out to a mentor. And I asked this mentor, he was good at communications. I wasn't good at communications. And he was like, you know what, you have a brand right there, you know. Why can't we put this together so that this becomes coherent information in different channels? LinkedIn is one of them. Here it was like a very detailed CV of who Topi is. There was the LinkedIn version. There was a normal CV, 2 pages that you send to recruiters, but then there was also a website. So that was my other channel of just really showcasing what Topi is all about. One other thing in the journey that I realized was a lot of inside work, really deep self-awareness. Who am I? What am I good at? What am I passionate about? What am I working towards? What's the plan? Because that then feeds into your CV, what you've already developed and what you're looking towards. And even when you go for job interviews or when you're networking with people, you have already some content to talk about. You know, I'm good at 1, 2, 3 things. I'm good at geospatial. I'm good at fintech. I'm good at project management. I'm good at communication. And through that networking and just, you know, face-to-face conversation and digital ones, this then come together and then you're out there. People get to know you. And that then translates to recruiters reaching out to you.
I like that. And I just want us to speak to maybe this girl who's just finished campus and is looking for a job. You know, just imagine someone has never touched LinkedIn before and wants to start. You know, how do I just take a selfie and put it out there? You know, how do I start with a CV? You know, because of course, if I'm also just starting out, it means I probably don't have budget to have someone do my CV for me. What advice would you give this young woman who's just starting out? You know, she's 23, 21, you know, just beginning to start out. I don't know what thoughts you have on how to get started in the simplest form.
the mistakes I made when I was young, when I finished campus, that 1-year job process, is learn to be very patient. It's an inside attitude before even you do your CV. I always have a folder of rejections every year. Like I put in my phone and in my laptop, I have it. It's a reminder that there's something either I am missing or maybe I am not yet as skillful at that particular level. So when I get 1 yes out of 25 rejections, it keeps on being a constant reminder of how far I've come. When it comes to your CV, I'd say start with the simplest form. Don't ignore what you've done. Even if it's an internship for 1 month, please put it. It adds really, really value. Keep it very simple. Avoid too much personal details. Just keep your email, your phone number, very simple CV, and avoid too long CVs. That's what I used to do before. Write it as short as possible, but be very clear of what your accomplishments have been.
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
And also while in campus, try and do things outside just the normal class. Organize an event, be a speaker, be the MC, all those culminate into experience. And then now after that you start building. And there's normally a format to how you write on the CV. I call it the PAR approach, problem, action, result. What was the specific task that you handled? What action did you take? And then what was the result? I'll give you an example. So if you organize an event, you say, I successfully convened a conference with 500 attendees, resulting to high engagement on social media. So you really articulate that. Don't make a list of, I was responsible for sending the invite. And no, you say, I successfully, you make sure you use power words.
Certain keywords.
Keywords, they're called power words, and then you put it out there. So when someone is reading, your CV is also really bringing out really what you, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Your CV is your first brand and putting out there yourself.
It's true. And let's talk about the pictures that we put on social media. And this could be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, you know, because the picture is the first thing you see, right? And you see, if I go onto someone's LinkedIn page, yes, I'll read the information, but I'll also see the picture, right? So what should this picture be? You know, it's some of these things we could think are obvious, but maybe they're not. Let's talk about that picture. And maybe you could share if you made any mistakes or pictures that you have seen, you're like, I'm not hiring this person. Like, what picture is this they've put? You know, so let's talk about that a little bit.
I'd speak first to the tech geek guys. I know they put pictures that are very funny sometimes. But to be genuinely honest, my first picture in LinkedIn was terrible. Looking back now, I just took it under a tree and it was like a selfie. But looking now, I've realized your brand is really who you are, like your face and how it lights up. Try to just be professional. Just go to this studio that take 100 pictures or 200. That one studio photo can make a whole difference more than a selfie. So try to be professional. Try to wear respectably, because I know we live in a social media. Our generation apparently does not really care much about how we dress or how we communicate in our dressing. So you'll find many of us young people just appear dressing way how even in our pictures in LinkedIn. Try and dress respectably. LinkedIn is a way different platform from Instagram or Facebook or any other platform, so be very formal. But also I'd say mind your language in whatever you post in your LinkedIn. Be very, very careful, because remember, whatever you're posting is affecting various cross-regional, especially we are looking to grow in the global space. So you need to be careful, but please use a presentable picture. I'd really say that, and dress well. It speaks volumes.
I agree totally with Stella. And take the time to, you know, do your face, your hair. If you're a lady, even a guy, make sure you put on great outfits. Take that nice photo. When you go to the studio, carry your flash disk and tell them to give you that picture so that you always have it, because you will need it in so many other places. These days, some people will want that picture in a CV, and then you put it in your profile photo on LinkedIn. So super helpful.
I like that. And you know, I keep saying, I think, especially as women, we also need to have a lot of courage. You know, I think courage is so key, because a lot of the things that we have to do as women are not easy, right? Probably easier for our male counterparts, you know, but in the workplace, they'll take a lot of courage, you know. I think of times when I've had to walk up to a boss, and I remember once I found out I was pregnant and I was not even confirmed. I was 4 months into a job. You know, you're just walking up to your boss, you're just like, oh my gosh, these people are gonna think I'm so irresponsible. Until you speak to a mentor and they're like, you know what, it's your personal life, it doesn't matter. You know, just walk up, don't apologize, just tell them. But it still takes courage. Courage to walk up to somebody and go like, you know, as you do these promotions, I feel I am fit, would you consider me? Or raise your hand for the next thing. And I'm just curious, what has been your story of risk-taking and courage? Are there stories you can give to encourage other women, you know, of, you know, stepping into, I don't know whether it's stepping into business for you, was that you're the most courageous thing? I don't know how it is like leaving Kenya and going to work out there, or any other story that you have in mind where you feel this for me is branded risk, highest risk stroke courage, so to speak.
For me, is living abroad. I find that the biggest risk, because I left home at 23 to do my master's.
Wow.
And from then on, it's just been a constant life abroad. And I'd say when I graduated at 25, you're asking yourself, well, why was I doing this thing in this whole rush?
Yeah.
So my whole point is every phase of a woman's life, you have to take risk. There is no like a certain yes that this will work out. Yeah. Even getting married is just a risk in itself. So
because you don't know if it's gonna work.
Exactly.
But you just trust that it will. Yeah.
But I've come to learn every time there's that little girl in us that's always wondering yes or no, and then there's that yes with the outcome and no with an outcome. So irrespective of whether you say a yes or a no, time will move, the outcome will come. So you have to be very, very bold. Also, I've learned that no one really cares about you more than yourself. Like no employer will sit down and say this job is for Faith, or they are waiting for Faith to apply for this job for them to interview. My whole point is you have to reach out and ask for help. Up to now, I'm thinking, wow, I realized the other day, I don't know how to look for a job in Kenya. I have tried, it's very difficult.
That's so interesting. Wow. But thank you for sharing your story of courage. I think that's fantastic to encourage many young women who are like, gosh, you know, how do I leave the comfort of my parents and all that? That's fantastic. Okay.
Speaking of courage, I have a very favorite quote. And it goes like, to trust yourself, to test the limits, that's the courage to succeed.
Oh, I like that.
So whenever I'm having any fear, I'm like, am I testing my limit in this particular situation? Yes, I am, you know.
I like that.
Take the time to prepare, think about them, sit in your corner and think about it, find the words, write it, make the call. Even before you make the call, maybe you need to have those words nearby, you need to have the script,
It's true.
So that you are able to really bring it out, prepare and then do it. And as you're doing it, just know I could get a yes, I could get a no, and it's fine. Stella was talking about failures. And in the process, expect failures. We're all human beings, we make mistakes. There are times things don't just work out the way we want them to be. And know what you do from failures? You learn. You take the lessons and you learn. Let them not discourage you and you build more fear, but encourage you so you become more courageous.
I like that. Also because I think so many times, you know, I keep saying everything we want is on the other side of fear. You know, but because we are scared, you know, you're like, what will people think? Am I really good at this? You know, I failed before. Then it just keeps you there. Or the fear of what will this person think that I'm just sending an email out of nowhere? You know, how will I survive abroad? I don't know anybody. Where will I live? You know, just all these fears just keep you from this great life on the other side of the table. So we have to be able to just ignore the fear. I have a friend who keeps saying, do hard things, you know, so do those hard things. Do it afraid, you know, and get to the other side. And even though you have to tell yourself every day, just do that. And I've liked the stories. And we can't close until I hear from you on what has been your biggest regret in your journey.
I wish I spent more time developing higher networks instead of just staying with my peers alone. Because I've noticed as I grow towards now my 30s, the social circle I am outgrowing, and I'm finding it hard. Like, I'm now trying to identify, how do I even start a new social circle? How do I start forming that? And that's the thing, when we are young in our 20s, we feel we have all the time to do that, but we really don't have. So that's my biggest regret, and it's something I am trying to ask God for grace to help me identify the right social circle, a higher one that will help me grow into the woman I am becoming.
For me, one of the biggest regrets or lessons has been knowing my strengths and starting to use them early. You know, many times we go through life and you're like, I'm not good at this, and then you focus so much energy, time, effort on what you're not good at. Well, already when God created you, he gave you a whole lot of gifts, talents, skills, that you're good at. So just for me, that there are times I took up jobs that were maybe sales oriented. I'm not good at sales, you know, but I'm good at empathizing and thinking about a product. So I realized this much later. So if it was one thing I could change, that was one of the things I would be like, I should have realized this very early in my career, in my profession, and really focused on that and became the best version of myself using the strengths. And that's why I was talking about halftime, moving from success to significance. It's never too late.
I like that. And to celebrate every moment. I've learned that from you, you know. You know, don't wait for this very big win to celebrate. Whatever small win you have, to just be able to celebrate that with your family. And you know, we spoke about the awards, and it would be so unfair. I know there are people who are watching who are like, Faith, they didn't tell us about the awards. So tell us about the awards you've gotten. How do we get these awards? You know, because someone might be asking, how do I get this award? You know, and are they good? You know, do they help, or is it just an award? You know, are you paid? You know, I get people saying, Faith, are you paid for that award? You know, so are people paid for these awards? I just want to hear that from you before we close.
Normally, I've gotten them not knowing. So you just wake up and find an email and they tell you, hi, we've been nominated for this. And especially February was a huge one for me in various aspects. But I think is doing what you do open-heartedly, not really looking for an award, but looking to find that satisfaction. That drives me a lot. Like, I can mentor somebody until you think their life is my life. So I think is understanding why I am doing things and doing it for God. When that is very clear, even the awards itself to me don't look like awards. I feel like I am just a vessel, and then God is the flower himself now. So he's taking all the glory. So that's why I really don't feel as if it is anything, because at the end of the day, the work has to continue. Serving him has to continue. Looking up to him has to continue. There's much work that has to be done.
That's a good place. So then that way it doesn't get to your head, and you can keep doing the great work you're doing. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And you, Topi?
I've been receiving many awards.
I know.
The first one I mentioned from that women event was women in leading women in IT. So first half of my career was traditional IT. Project management, programming, supporting users of systems. So I was getting generic woman in IT awards. And then I got into the top 40 under 40 in 2018, which was a culmination of all the work I'd done before. This year I was named one of the top 100 women in fintech globally. Last year I was top 60 women in fintech in Africa. So just based on my experience and the things I've been able to achieve in the space, then I get these awards. Again, they come as a surprise. Someone just sends me a link and tells me, congratulations. I'm like, what is this you're talking about?
Where is it from?
So they normally come as a surprise. And it's an output of all the work, the personal branding, the being out there, and people out there will pick it.
That's true.
And, you know, like she said, the universe aligns. God just puts you in places where someone recognizes.
I like that.
And that recognition then leads to more building of your brand.
I like that. And you know why I asked you to share? It's not to show off. It's because I think young women out there need to see that normal Black women are getting these awards, are doing great things in this country and abroad, and so then they can be encouraged, you know, because I think so many times as young women, you know, you could just be doing things blindly and you're like, gosh, is anyone seeing, or things like that. You know, people are seeing. Do take the intentionality that we've talked about, and you know, in no time, just like they did, you know, it should happen to you, or it could happen to you, and even though it doesn't, keep doing that great work. Thank you for visiting us in your short stay in the country and honoring us, and thank you, Topi, for, you know, just blessing us with your presence as well. This has been She. We've had a lot of fun. Please, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Until next week, God bless you and keep you.